So let's look at the second case study, which we are going to work. It's going to be kind of a loan analysis. Uh, in this case study, we gonna majorly focus on exploratory data analysis. Whatever section you have learned from there, we're gonna probably use that. So this is gonna gives you an idea that how real business problems are usually solved by just looking at the EDA. Means here also we are not going to use any sort of machine learning. It will be completely an EDA based project. Now, apart from applying the technique what we have learned in EDA, here you need to also develop a basic understanding of risk analysis in banking and financial services. And also we need to understand how the data is used to minimize the risk of losing money while lending to the customer. So we would like to develop some sort of pattern or some sort of strategy which will help us in future to determine whether we should give a loan to somebody in future from the bank side or not. And this is a very famous problem which we always solve. So what is the business standing here? So let's say you work for a customer financial company which is specializing in lending various sort of loans to urban customer. And if I'm not wrong, this data is from 2011 to 2017. And when any company receives any loan application, the customer has to make a decision for loan approval based on the applicant profile. Now there are two type of risks which are associated with the bank decision. One is if the applicant is likely to repay the loan, then not approving the loan result in a loss of business, right? So that's one thing. And if the applicant is not likely to repay the loan, that is he or she is likely to default, then approving the loan may lead to financial loss for that company. Now, the data which is given contains the information about the past loan applicants and whether they have defaulted or not. So, I will show you the data in the Python notebook sooner, so you can basically look at that. The aim is to identify the pattern which indicates if the person is likely to default, which may be used for taking actions such as maybe in future we may want to deny some loans, or maybe we can say that we will not give you the loan of this amount but lesser amount, or basically lending to risky applicants, right? So maybe if we notice that there is a very risky applicant, then we may say that you have to pay more than what we ask for the normal candidate. So that kind of thing we can make decisions based on that. Now, in this case study, you will use your EDA to understand how customer attributes and the loan attributes influence the tendency to default on a loan. So when a person applies for a loan, there are two types of decision that could be taken by the company. One is loan accepted. If a company approves the loan, now here also there can be three possible scenarios. One is the applicant have completely paid the amount. Second is he is currently paying it. He have not yet fully paid it, but he is paying the installment. And third is charged off. This guy have kind of defaulted, means he is not paying anymore, and this is the risky customer. Now the second condition which could have happened was loan rejected. So here, if the company have rejected the loan, the maybe due to the customer is not meeting the requirement, and since the loan was rejected, there is no transactional history of these applicants, right? Because if we have already rejected, then what will be the transaction this customer is going to make? Now, what is the business objective? Business objective is that the company is the largest online loan marketplace, and basically they provide personal loan, business loan, financial and medical procedures loans, and borrowers can easily assess the lower interest rate loan through the fast online interface. Now, like any other leading company, leading loans to risky applicants is the largest source of financial loss, because if you have given the loan to the wrong person, you may go into a huge loss. The credit loss is the amount of company lost by the lender when the borrower is going to refuse to pay or run away with the money on. Okay, let's say run away with the money on. In other words, the borrower who default caused a large amount of loss to the lenders. In this case, the consumers label as charged off. So wherever you notice charged off, that means that customer have not paid the loan, he ran away. If one is likely to identify this risky loan applicants, then such loans can be reduced, thereby cutting the amount of loss which is possible. And identifying such applicants using ADA is what you want. So here also, as I said, we are not going to use any machine learning concept. It will be completely through EDA. So in other words, the company wants to understand the driving factors behind any loan defaults. That is, can we determine the variables which are strong indicator of default? the company can utilize this knowledge in future for the future loan giving thing. Now, to develop your understanding in this domain, you definitely are advised to look at or do your own research before you start solving this problem. So again, the same point I'm going to mention, which I have said even in the previous EDA project, is you have to try to solve this problem on your own first. Don't directly jump on looking at my solution, because then you're really not learning anything. So if you really want to basically whatever you have learned, make the best use out of it, you need to really spend time and fix this code on your own. Just try to write. Think of how you can come up with some univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, segmented variable analysis. Before that, how to clean the data. Can we come up with some derived column? All these techniques, what we have learned, you have to apply here. This is going to be very interesting in a real case study. So you have to work on it, come up with some solution. If not, then after that, look at the solution and see that where the things were missing at your end. Or maybe you could have come up even with a better solution than my own solution here. If yes, then paste it on the discussion forum. Let other students also know so that they can take advantage for your code. So I will tell you my code, my way of writing code in the next lecture. But before that, again, stop here, write the code on your own, spend at least a day or two on this. It will take time. It is not going to be just a day task. Maybe it will take a day or two. It will not finish so fast because the data is huge. And then see if you can come up with some interesting trend. On top of that, a bonus brownie point, if you can prepare a presentation in the last and post it in the discussion forum, nothing can be better than that. Please try that. So I will be waiting for your solution, and in the next lecture I will propose the solution for it. Okay, so I'm really assuming here that you have already tried all these things on your own, and I'm assuming that you have looked at the data and would have realized by now that it's really a huge data to kind of analyze on and to come up with some loan analysis. And if you have noticed that I have also given you a data dictionary, which is very important to look at for your analysis. Without that data dictionary, you would not be able to make out lot many columns. So you have to definitely go to that section and kind of read about the data dictionary in detail. So there will be four major parts which we are going to follow in this case study. Number one, we're gonna understand the data. Second thing would be data cleaning. So we will look at the missing columns, missing values, and so on. And then we will do some analysis where we perform the univariate, bivariate, segmented analysis, do some derived column also if required. And then in the last, we will do our recommendations in this case. So that's what would be our strategy while we are solving this. So first we need to load this data, which is through read.csv, loan.csv. We are reading it up. Once we read it up, this is the data. So you can see that there are some 111 columns which we have in this case, and there will be a lot of rows. So I have just printed out 5, but there are a lot of rows. Now let's look at these column names. So these are the column names, and if you look at the data set closely, major columns which you can even make out by reading the column names would be loan amount, which is going to be very important, term, interest rate, grade, subgrade, annual income, purpose for the loan, right? So these may be few important factors basically in this data. And what is going to be a target variable? Target variable is going to be a loan status, whether the person have charged off or he have paid or whatever. So this is going to be a target variable in this case. So let's start with the data cleaning step, because this is the most important component we start with. So what we are going to do here is that we will look at all the missing values. So again, following the same strategy what we are doing it from last. So we will look at is null sum, and you can notice that the basically this is the data. This do not look so better. So what we will do, we will look at the percentage, like how we were doing it in the last time also. So if you look at the percentage, you will notice that few of the columns have 100% missing value. So which means that we definitely would like to remove. In fact, you will find some columns with 90% also. So maybe we can devise a strategy that anything where we have more than 90% missing values, with this column is not going to be any useful for us. Let's remove them out. So what we're going to do is we have placed a code which is going to look at the percentage. If it is going greater than 90, then remove them out. So these are the columns which we are going to remove in that case. You can see that we are getting rid of lot many columns like this. So then we can do a drop, and when we are dropping it up, we can see the shape. This is the 55 column we are left with. Let's see the missing value once again, just to see that if we have any more missing value. And yes, we do have. In fact, you can see that we have one at 32% and one at 64%. Remaining looks okay. So maybe let's, before we decide to do anything with them, let's take a quick look on the data, that what this data is all about. And this is where maybe we would like to see the data dictionary as well. So now we will look at this two columns, describe and month since last dealing. Now if you look at this two columns, basically the first column is description. This is basically kind of a description being added, right? So while applying for loan, there is some sort of description being added, some details being added. Now, definitely you may say that I can use this for text, using some text sentimental analysis, like using text mining and NLP. We can use and try to use it for a lot of many other purposes. This is definitely possible to do, but we will not do this analysis in this case study at least. So I'm going to remove this out. Second column, month since last dealing. If you have gone through the data dictionary, you might have seen that this column basically is created after the loan is approved or disapproved. So definitely this column is of no use for me here, because this column when during the loan time is not going to come, right? I want something that during the loan time I should make a decision. So let's drop these two columns. Let's look at again my null values, and this is the data what we got. Now still we do have a lot of missing value, but if we want we can ignore them for now, because we are not going to build any machine learning model here. It's just ED analysis. So if required in future to remove something, we will keep on doing it, but for now let's ignore it. Whenever requirement will come, we will take a look. So let's look at the missing data in rows also now, because we would like to see that if there is any row where we have more than, let's say, 5 missing value. So in that case, we would like to remove that particular row. So this is the row count which we are getting. And what we can do is we can just search for if there is any row where there are more than 5 missing value, and we got 0. So looks like we are all good with respect to this. So let's look at the information of the data using the info command. This is done just to see that is there any column which is supposed to be numeric, but we have kept it like object. So object is like string, right? So we are keeping it like that. So is there any column like that? So I've already done this analysis. So this is basically, you will find something like int rate. You can go and check out here. So int rate will be there as object. So you can see it here. Int rate is there as object. So this integer rate basically will be can be an important factor. So we would like to convert it to integer, because that will make more sense, right? So we are converting it using a lambda function and converting it to an integer numeric value. Now look at this data set once again, and this time we would like to do something for employee length. If you have already seen the data in employee length, you will notice that it have categorical data as well. So we would like to take out only the numeric value out of it, but there's a problem in this employee length also have some missing value. So if I have to apply some regular expression which is taking out the digit from the data, right? So employee length have some string value. So if I want to take only the digit out of it, so in order to apply this regular expression, I have to make sure that I need to remove all the values where the missing data is there. So I would like to first remove the employee length column missing values, and then I'm gonna pull up the digit value from it. So I'm really assuming here that you have done all this thing. If you have already tried this case study on your own, then you would have observed it. If not, pause the video and look at that. I'm definitely not doing each and every step here. I'm just kind of explaining you quickly here what are the steps you should have performed. This is just to give you an idea, so that but to just compare your solutions with mine, and if you have missed out anything, you can match out with this. But main intention was that you should have tried this on your own before. Okay, so now this is the one part. Now after that, once we have done it, taken out only the digit, then after that we can make sure that it's in the numeric format. Now after that, let's look at the columns once again. Now once we are doing it, now everything looks good, and after that we are all good to start our analysis. So this is where we will start our univariate, bivariate and further analysis. So we will do that from our next lecture. So now after we have got the clean data, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the data analysis. So here we're gonna look at a lot of univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, segmented analysis, and so on. So the first step is that we gonna understand that what all we are going to do in this case, right? What is the our clear objective? Now, keeping that in mind, there are three kind of basically variables with us. One is the first one is those which are related to the applicants, like for example, age, occupation, employment detail. Second one could be a loan characteristic kind of data. For example, amount of loan taken by him, interest rate, purpose of loan, etc. Similarly, there can be a customer behavior variable, which could be like they are the one which are generated after the loan is approved. So these are the third kind of variable which we probably don't need, right? So now you need to again go back, look at the data dictionary, and would probably try to get rid of those variable names, because those are the variable names which are not going to help you at all. Now let's, when we searched it up, so we got these particular all the variables like D-Link 2 years, earliest CR line, Inc last 6 month, open account, public rec, similarly Revol Bal, Revol Util, total account, out per income. So all these things will be a part of your behavior, which is after the loan is approved. So definitely these we don't need it, right? Because my final analysis, what we want is that at the time of giving the loan, which are the variables which I would like to look at. So these were the things we would like to probably go with this. So basically here, so these are the variables, and again you can go back with dictionary and match up these things and see what each variable means. Now so let's drop all these behavior variables because these are we don't need, and now we have reduced our columns a lot. Now there are few more which could be probably not that useful. For example, if you look at the zip code, how that can be useful? No, right? Similarly, you could have a URL or title, right? Or you could have even, let's say, a variable is title, which is, if you look at the purpose column, the title column can be actually derived from it. So maybe you don't need it, okay? You don't need it again. So you would like to again remove this title, URL, zip code, and address state, because these will again not be useful. Again, this is a business call, okay? If you want, you can still keep the map and try to do analysis. You may not come up with some very interesting trend. Now, after this, what we would like to do is we have some columns which we may want to completely convert it to 0, 1. And one thing we would do is like loan status first convert to category and then see that how many are fully paid, how many are charged off, how many are current, right? So these are basically three values what we have. Now, definitely the current one we cannot do much because we don't know whether they're gonna be charging off, whether they're gonna be fully paying. Right now we can't do anything about them. So let's skip them out. So we're gonna remove all the one which not current. And the remaining part what we are left with, like we are left with the charged off and fully paid. So what we will do with them, we will convert them to 0, 1. So if they are fully paid, I will mark them 0. If not, basically if they have charged off, I will mark it as 1. So 1 means they are kind of my risky customer. Now, once I've done it, let's convert these to numeric values. Once I have converted to numeric value, let's see that how my distribution looks like. So there are 32,145 people who have fully paid the loan, which is good. But there are 5,399 people who are in the charged off category. Now, let's perform some univariate analysis on top of it to determine that what can be basically a possibility in this case. So, during the univariate analysis, what we could figure out is the default rate, the people who are defaulting are like 14% in this data, and the remaining 86 is like the one which they are fully paid. Now, let's do some analysis. So, let's say if I want to look at the grade column. Now, if you recall from the grade column is coming from some the lender part, right? Lender company, like the CIBIL score kind of thing. So, if you are basically grade A customer, means you have in the past paid like a lot of loans nicely. If you are in grade higher like G, F, all those, so they are basically the one who are bad customers. So let's see that how this is gonna come up in a bar plot. So bar plot will draw on the y-axis count and x-axis will be the grade. So what we have done is like grade and the loan status. So these two we are going to plot with the data frame. So you can see that it is also telling me an interesting thing, like this is what is expected. So you can notice that basically people who are in grade A, they are defaulting the minimum. And as and when this grade is going up, the default is also increasing, right? So you can see that the default is continuously increasing as my grade is going up, and that is expected, right? Because as I said, grade is one column which is determined from your previous records. So this is something which is expected also. So now we're gonna do this kind of analysis on multiple columns. And in order to do that, let's create a function for it so that I need not write this code again and again. So what we are doing is we have created a plot underscore cat function where I'm going to pass a categorical variable. For example, I can plot here grade. And what we are doing is we will just plot bar plot again here. We will pass the cat variable, whatever we're going to pass. And y-axis will always be loan status and the data will be always df. So this is going to just plot up this thing. So I'm going to just call it. So for example, plot underscore cat grade if we pass, this is going to plot exactly the same graph which we have just seen. Now, as I told you already that this is expected. Now let's do it for the term. So maybe we have two kind of terms with us. One is 36 month term and one is like 60-month term. So we would like to see if the people who are applying for 36 months, they are defaulting more, or people who are applying for longer term like 60 months, they are defaulting more. So that's basically what we want to infer now. So what we are doing is we are passing term and we are seeing an interesting thing that people who are applying for longer term loan, they have the high risk of defaulting. Okay, this is risky customer. Now let's look at A1 is A1, A2, like there are subcategories also, right? In A also there's a subcategory A1, A2, A3. And definitely A1 is better than A2, then A3 is better than A3. So we would like to see whether the same trend is following up here. And yes, you can notice if you go with this, A1 is very, very small. And you can see that after that, it's when you are going from A1 to A2 is also going higher. So this is something which is coming as our expected lines. Now let's look at the home ownership, right? Now home ownership is like whether he's renting own house or whether he have a mortgage or others. Now here it's not a very well way of coming with some output because they're very close. So maybe we would say that this is not impacting much. Home ownership is variable is not letting me know much of the information. Now let's look at the verification status. So you might have noticed that when you apply for loan, they do some verification for you. Now we are noticing very interesting trend. What we are noticing is that people who are verified by our verification agency, those are the people who are defaulting more, and people who are not being verified as per our records, they are in fact not defaulting much. Okay, so sometimes it do happens in bank that this is being referred by somebody, or maybe we know about it that he's a very genuine customer, and in that case maybe they sometimes keep you as an exception and do not put any sort of inquiry for you. So maybe those are the people who are not verified. They were just given loan thinking that these are the people we know or this being referred by some known people. So maybe I don't want to go for verification for them. But what we're noticing is that for people for whom we have done our good verification, they are the one who are basically doing more default. So maybe we would like to make some rules more stricter from the verification agency, right? So this is something which is interesting trend. Now let's look at few more things. Let's say purpose of loan. Is the purpose of loan also impacting? Yes. You can see in this graph, there are small businesses which are applying for loan. They have a very high chance of defaulting. And if you look at the other ones, for example, if you look at the renewable energy and education part in this particular graph, they are not defaulting much, right? Their defaulting rate is very, very low in this case. Now, this is interesting, right? If you look at it, this is giving us interesting thing. Maybe if a person who is going to apply for loan in future for the small business and so on, we may accordingly take the decision that looks like this is a risky customer. Now let's look at the second thing. We also have a date column which is issue date, and what we would like to see is we would like to see the distribution for it. So maybe it may be a good idea to separate out the month and the year so that we can have a separate analysis for both of them. It would be better. So what we can do, the date is looking like this, and what we will do first, we will convert it to date time or using date time into an appropriate format, and after that we can just take out the month from it and year from it and keep it separately. Now these are like derived columns, right? Now what we're gonna do is we will do a basically count with respect to group by of year, and we would try to see that for each year how the distribution is gonna look like. So you can notice that as my year is increasing, in 2011 we had the maximum loan given, in 2007 it is lesser, right? So definitely the customers are increasing here. And a similar thing we will do to with month also. Okay, so you can notice that most of the loans are being granted in December. So maybe December is the time frame where people are applying for more loans, and they are being granted also at that time frame. Now let's see that whether we can make any interesting trend out of it. So when we are plotting this, what we notice is that the graph was decreasing. In 2007, the default was very high. They started decreasing, but suddenly in 2011, it increased again. Now, this may be a worrisome part for that company, because they would like to see that whether we are doing something wrong here, right? So maybe they can do further analysis on top of it. Now, after that, what we can also see is that month-wise analysis, but month-wise is not giving us anything more concrete, because more or less everyone is looking same. Now let's look at the loan amount. Now, loan amount, if you remember, is a continuous variable. Till now, whatever we were dealing with was continuous variables, means basically was a categorical variable. Now, categorical variable was very easy, that how we have done it. But what about continuous variable? Because if we plot a graph on, let's say, on loan amount, this is not telling me something very interesting, right? This is not really giving me much insight from it. Just like how we were getting it from categorical columns, we were telling that, okay, if this is the case, the loan is risk is more higher or not. So I'm not able to give any inference out of it. So how about if we again do some sort of derived column, and what we would do is we would basically make some categorical columns out of it. For example, in the loan amount, how about if we say that anything less than 5,000 loan amount, maybe we would say that these are like low value customers with low loan amount. And similarly, anything between 5,000 to 15,000, let's mark it as medium. Similarly, anything between 15,000 to 25,000, let's mark it as high. Else if it is more higher, let's mark it as very high. Now, what we will do is that loan amount, let's basically we got it from here. And what we will do is once we pass inside this function, we can just do some value counts, and then we can also do a plotting, just like how we were doing in categorical variables. Now here we notice that most of the customer are medium sized customers. So medium sized customers are people who are basically applying for like between 5,000 to 15,000 is the loan amount for them. So now if we plot a graph and see that what is the risk coming up for it, because again, if we look at it, the y-axis is again going to be the same. So now again, the loan status is my y-axis. So when we do this, we can very well see that the people who are applying for more loan, basically for whom the loan amount is higher, they have in fact more high chance of basically defaulting the loan. Okay, so people who are applying for lesser loan, in fact, medium and low are almost same. So they are not very much risky customers, but definitely the people who are applying for higher loans, they are very much a risky customers for us. Now let's do the same thing for funded amount investment also. When we do the for the funded amount, we got the same sort of distribution. Now you can see here also when they are high in number, the loan risk also have increased a lot. Similarly, what we can do is we can derive a function for interest rate as well. So for that, what we have done is any interest rate less than 10, we will mark it as low. So between 10 to 15, let's mark it as medium. And above this value, let's mark it as high interest rate. So when we draw that, what we notice, there's people who are being given the loan on a higher interest rate, they basically are defaulting more. And people who are given the loan with a lower interest rate, they are not defaulting more. So this is interesting, right? How we are using a continuous variable and now coming up with the interesting insight out of it. And we are using the business logic to derive all that. Similarly, we can do it for income ratio. So for income ratio also, what we have done is anything less than 10 is low, between 10 to 20 medium, otherwise high. And what we can notice here is that people again for higher we are defaulting more, but they're almost close, so we cannot do much analysis here. Let's do the same thing for funded amount. And in funded amount, you can put it like value less than 5,000, low, between 5,000 to 15,000, medium, else high. Let's do the analysis. And again, we are going to get almost the same thing. So let's do the further analysis in the next lecture. Okay, so now we have to perform a segmented univariate analysis. One thing which I missed out in the last video was that to look at this employee length, but it was not giving much of the information. So what I have done for employee length was that converting it to freshers, juniors, senior and expert based on the year of experience. And then we plotted this and we could not make much information. Let's do the segmented analysis. This we have already done. It's just the repetition which was happened by mistake. So here, if you remember, the small businesses was creating basically more of the risk factor. Now, after that, what we would like to do is we would like to look at the purpose of the loan. Purpose of the loan basically is given in the data set. So there can be various purpose. Maybe I would like to take a loan to pay my credit card bill. Maybe I would like to pay the loan for paying some other debt, right? Maybe this kind of risk there. Maybe for home loan, different kind of purpose. So when I plot this, we notice that we for the debt consideration, which is basically means to paying the other debt I have taken some this debt, they have the high chance of risking it. So they are the one who are not paying it often, and they are the risky customers for us in this case. So now in this case, we figured out there are four which are basically higher. One is your basically debt consideration. Second is your credit card. This is also higher. This is not coming very clear, but it is actually major purchase which is basically impacting it up. And basically there is something home improvement which is also not very clean, but it is going to show up here, home improvement. So I will take out these four columns which are impacting the maximum, and what I would do is I would look at those values, and basically from the data I will only pull up those values, and we'll see that how they are distributed. So we can see that for depth consideration we have the highest value. Now after that we will draw a plot for purpose. So we can see here only with four values this is going to be higher depth consideration, and the remaining are also higher but not as high as depth consideration. But now using this column we are going to perform a segmented variate analysis. Let me show you how. So what we will do in this case, we will basically plot a graph with respect to term like 36 month and 60 month. But now we have divided it into like based on credit card, based on debt consideration and so on. So this is interesting, right? Because now if you notice we are getting some more insight, like in 36 month and 60th month, both the cases debt consideration is the main one where I'm getting into the more credit loss, right? But if you look at the green color, which is home improvement, for 36 month it is high comparatively, but for 60th month it is lower. But in fact for 60th month this is the second number, credit card, right? So maybe this is giving us even a better inference what we had last time. Now in order to do this, let's better draw a function, because we don't want to again and again repeat it. So in this function plot segmented, I'm going to take the categorical variable, and the remaining y loan status and hue purpose is going to remain the same. So we just exactly plotted the same graph for term just to see that it's working or not. Now let's do it for grade. So this is the grade 1, and here also you can see that the debt consideration is the highest for almost every grade. Now look at the home ownership. Here also almost the same result, but in others case, basically here we can notice that for home improvement we are getting more of the risk part. Now let's draw it for year. We are getting something similar. We are drawing it employee length. Now I leave it to you to infer on it, right? Because we have done so much of inferences earlier. By looking at this graph, you can very easily infer. Similarly, I'm going to do it for loan amount. I'm going to do it for interest rate. I'm going to do it for installment. I have to do it on DTI, debt to income ratio. I have to do it for annual income. And basically this is what the way we can do it. But till how much you will keep on doing it, right? It's very difficult to do that. How about if we can get some numeric value of doing it? So what we can do is, let's say if I want to look at the annual income and see that what is the loan status mean value for low, median, very high, high. So this is the value. Now maybe what we can do is we can subtract low and high, and we'll get that how much it is increasing or decreasing in that case. So for that we have written a function. So what this function is going to do is exactly this part, okay, and then basically it is looking at the basically the minimum and maximum and going to kind of subtract it. So what is happening here, let's say if I applied it for basically on default rate, let's say. So now you will notice that the result is going to be that low is this, medium is this, very high is this, and high is this. But the difference between low and high is 0.6, which means that there is a 6% increase in the default rate at you go from high to low annual income, right? So basically when the annual income is kind of going from high to low, there's a 6% chance. Now we can do it for all the variables like that, but can we keep on writing the code like that? It will not be a good idea. How about if we basically use this function in a loop like for loop, and now this is giving you a very interesting result, right? So now basically with respect to this, you can apply it with the for loop with a dictionary format, you can keep it, and then you can see that it's telling that for loan amount we have 7% increase, for funded amount 6% increase, and that's where we can see that for term we have a maximum impact. So using this we will get a good insight that which are all the columns where we're gonna have a maximum impact on the loan part. So this is how we gonna compute all these things. Okay, so we will compute and finish up all these things like that. So this consists of this project. I have basically not finished this project completely, but definitely now you can just write your inferences after that. So this I want to give you as homework. So I have completed the whole project from the code point of view, but now you have to just write your inferences and finish it up. So how about if you use a presentation for it? Interesting, right? So maybe you can just use that to complete this particular section.